Hi, everybody. My name is Eldad, and I'm, again, the CRO and co-founder of KIDOZ. We have about an hour, maybe 15 minutes to talk about, to take a guided tour into the economy of kids applications. We have a very distinguished panel, but as a warm-up, I want to give you 10 minutes of our view of the market, and, it will serve as a beginning for the panel. So, KIDOZ was created with the same humble motivation that Google started to help kids find the best content online. We especially for kids, and we started by creating the product on the left, which is a kid mode for kids, a safe environment for kids, for them to discover content on mobile devices. We partnered with many distinguished partners, and then we kind of shifted or opened also a second line of product, which is an SDK, a mini KIDOZ, a tinier KIDOZ that sits within kids' applications and help them discover things on the go. And we kind of shifted from the kid mode, from the safe environment model to a more free discovery, as we learned two things about kids, mostly about parents, by the way. We learned that parents are not really willing to pay for safe environments, and we learned that parents are not, and kids actually prefer the freedom to discover things on their own and not necessarily to be locked to safe environments. The overall concept, gives us a nice signal of success. We started this year with 1 million active users. We're going to end up with 25 million active users this month. So the growth is pretty high for this year. We're embedded within over 900 apps, helping them to either monetize their apps and reach and expand their content, and also other developers to promote their apps on our network. And the first question we asked our developers was why? Like, why? Why did you ever thought about creating apps for kids? And most of them said that they wanted to make it a better world for their kids, which is refreshing and cute, but probably not, the best motivation to open a business. I know it worked on the TabTale case, and I think it also worked for the KIDOZ case, but for many cases it's not the right one. As kids applications, we have two huge problems. The first one is distribution. Obviously, every app has the issue of distribution, but when it comes to kids don't intentionally browse the store. They don't go to the app store and seek with intent. And if they do, they can swipe the whole app store in a second, saying they found nothing. It's like sending your kids to the refrigerator when they're hungry. They'll just grab the chocolate cake and move on. So they don't really find the stuff that we as parents want them to find. And parents, although we think we are involved in the life of our kids, we're not. And we don't have the time or the effort to help our kids find the best content online. So unless you have a huge portfolio of apps, like TabTale, or you have good friends at Google and Apple, you have a very big issue of discovery and distribution. And if you thought distribution is hard, well, monetization is even harder. When the cost of install is always rising and is, let's call it $1, and the lifetime value that you get from each user is around 25 cents, the gap between those two numbers is the tragedy of our industry, which makes it really, really hard to do user acquisition, to really market and scale your business. This is what we and some other companies are trying to solve. But the outcome is that when we ask those developers how do they market their apps, only 21% mentioned that they are doing some sort of user acquisition, some sort of paid campaigns, and most of them are only paying a few $1,000s a month on a good month. So they mostly rely on store optimization and free tactics. Most of them cannot spend any dollars on user acquisition. How do they make money? Well, they can ask users to pay. That's one option. They can do it in three ways. The premium version, to set your price, to set your app as a premium app. This is mostly common on Apple, on iOS, and this method, the inability for kids to do the try before you buy concept leaves your user base relatively small. The second option, you relying on in-apps, is mostly common on Android. Brings two main concerns. One is bad reviews and bad criticism from parents, and the second is low conversion rate. As when you look at kids, they will only pay for the apps that they are highly engaged with. King of Thieves and apps that are playing with for hours and days. They don't pay for additional content. They will only pay for if they need to win a game. So setting a paid wall for most of them would be a dead end. They won't come to you, parents. Some of you are parents. They won't come to you to ask you to unlock an additional set of coloring pages. Okay, this is not the reality. Subscription, the third way, is probably the most successful one in terms of ARPU and success. Most of the biggest apps are using the subscription model. The only issue with subscriptions that you need a lot of content to maintain and feed the subscription. Regardless of how you monetize through those systems, you obviously leave a lot of money on the table. As 95, 96, 97% of your users will never pay, right? And the paying users represent a very small portion of your user base. Which brings us to the opportunity of implementing ads within your kids' applications. And the opportunity is quite big. Only last year, $17 billion were spent on TV ads in the US alone, and it is slowly but finally shifting into the mobile space, and we can all benefit from the shift of budgets. So we asked our developers, how do they feel about ads? How do they feel about presenting ads within their games? And 41%, they're okay with any ads. Insurance, banks, whatever, give us whatever you have. 22 said, I'm only okay with safe and relevant ads for kids. And 37 said that they will place no ads. But I think the red part is shrinking as more and more safe networks are rising. This would be the right time to call the panel and talk about the whole monetization. I have a few other examples, but I want to leave time for the panel. So I'm going to call Sanna, head of ToonsTV from Rovio. I'm going to call Guy Tomer, chief marketing at TabTale, Mantas, the CEO of TutoTOONS, and Jonas, CEO of Tiny Labs. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for coming to Israel. All of us, let's quickly introduce ourselves. Let's start with Sanna. Obviously, you started as an app developer. The company started as an app developer. You became, a media and a multinational media company, merchandising your IPs and turning them into a movie. So I think this would be the right time to introduce yourself. And I heard that you prepared the video for us. So I'm going to work in the background to prepare the video, and you can start.
So great to be here. And as said, I'm Sanna, and I'm leading ToonsTV Global Business at Rovio Animation. And actually in Rovio, we have two big business units. Obviously, one is games, and the other one is animation. And in animation, we have movie, we have consumer products, we have ToonsTV as a channel, and our animation studio as a separate business unit. And I have a little video there that shows what ToonsTV is, so hopefully it is available there. And maybe while they are kicking it up there, so about my personal background, so I'm enthusiastic about developing new businesses and growing businesses, and I have background in technology and art, which makes it really fun mixture in this industry. Yeah, actually my secret art is dancing, but I think you prefer seeing the video and me talking.
Did you want to add something?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, Guy.
So I'm Guy. I'm managing the marketing and business development in TabTale. Sagi already spoke enough about TabTale. I think you all know us. We can move forward.
That was quick. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm Jonas from Tiny Lab Kids. Right now we call ourselves Tiny Lab Kids, but 7 years ago we called ourselves Tiny Lab Productions. We were a small team and we developed hardcore games for hardcore players, like strategy games, skill games, like really serious games. And if you wonder why we moved to games for kids, like 3 years ago we noticed a niche. There was a niche for racing games for kids, and we couldn't leave that, so we claimed that niche, and now we are #1 racing game for kids. So yeah, that's us now.
Mantas?
Yes, hello. So thank you for inviting us, first of all. So my name is Mantas. I'm founder and CEO of TutoTOONS. And at TutoTOONS, basically, we are building a free drag-and-drop game builder, which requires absolutely no coding. So anyone who wants to build a game can use our technology and create a game fast and easy, basically. On the other side, we are working as a publisher. So we publish the best created games with our platform. At the moment, we have more than 250 games published on free app stores, counting 150 million downloads. So in short, this is TutoTOONS.
Cool. So keep the mic with you. I'm going to start the question with you this time, and we're going to dive directly into the, the business and ask you, how do you generate revenues? What's your business model? The detailed you can be, the better, right? Try to share your knowledge and your insight with the team here. How do you maintain a business?
Yeah, so our business model is pretty simple. So our tool is completely free. Anyone can just start building the game. And once we publish the game, we share revenue 50-50 with the game creator. For monetization, we use mostly in-app purchases. So there's a game where you can lock some content inside. As well, we're using advertisement and KIDOZ, of course. So I think that's pretty simple. Everybody's more or less doing this kind of monetization.
But most of your revenues are still coming from in-apps.
Yes. So we were focused from the beginning of creating the best content possible, and we kind of were avoiding ads. Now we're moving into the ad space and trying to find new ways how we can present ads and not to interrupt the gameplay. And it's like we want to create something different that kids would be playing and not be like won't hate the ads, basically. So it's a journey, and we hope we can find the solutions to doing that.
Sure. Jonas?
Well, we started as a strategy game developer, and we were against ads from the beginning. We thought that ads are ruining experience, and we thought, well, we will do whatever we can, but we will never use ads. Right now, 90% of our revenues comes from ads. So what happened? We experimented with our first game. We launched our first game 3 years ago. We added one ad network, and we thought, well, let's test whatever will happen. Well, first dollars started flowing in. We integrated another ad network, and these dollars started multiplying. So we started integrating more and more ad networks, and now we have our own framework with more than 20 ad networks. We have our own framework. We optimize those ad networks per geo. We have really difficult optimization system which our tech team developed, and we are glad that we developed that, because I think nobody in the industry currently optimizes ad networks in the way we do. So our business model, ads.
And are all of them COPPA?
All COPPA compliant.
Okay, cool. Thomas.
So our model is basically today the same, freemium. I don't think there is really another option. Just an anecdote, I looked at earlier this morning at the top paid premium kids app in October. I will not say which app it is, but I will give you a hint. They got a big banner feature from Apple, so they got the best promotion they can get. And this top featured app in October, the #1 paid app in the App Store. I would ask you to guess how many downloads it made in October, but I guess people that are not deep in the numbers would guess in the millions, or in at least in hundreds or thousands. So they made 60,000 downloads all over October with this huge feature from Apple.
65,000?
60,000, yeah. 60. So that's all this is the number of downloads they got for a paid app in October with this top banner promotion from Apple. So there is just no business today for paid apps. There is just no other option besides freemium. And in the freemium, of course, it's in-app purchase and ads. We use ads for a long time. We also optimize. I hope we do it at least as good as he does. That's up to your own there. Yeah, I think you summarized it nicely. I mean, we are. You forgot. You said either don't care or safe. Of course, everyone wants it to be safe. You have to have it safe. You have to have it Korppoo compliant. There's no question about it. But it's a bit more complex than just whether it's safe or not safe. There are a lot of other options and many things to figure out in the ads business. But that's your job to do.
That's our job.
Yes.
Yeah, for us, it's as well advertisement, and we're proudly doing that. And our vision is to do it in a perfect way, in very native and integrated way. And you saw some glimpses of those campaigns. And for us, native means really takeovers, branded channels, featured videos with our partners like movie studios and so on, and really selecting partners with high entertainment value and kids and family audience. In the beginning, it wasn't like that. When we launched inside our games, so we didn't have any monetization strategy, and we ended up in a situation that the platform cost was seriously millions a year, plus the content creation cost, and it was surprising how expensive that all got. So in that sense, we needed to create very fast the strategy. And for that type of a reach, the advertisement was really the solution. And now it's more strategic in our planning. And in the future, we will test some other monetization mechanisms, but the role isn't change the model. It's really kind of give alternatives to parents, for example. But we don't expect that will be a huge in a number-wise, but it's more like giving options.
Would you share something about the merchandising phase, or the movie? The movie came out this year. Something about how it did change the Rovio perspective of the space.
Yeah, I'd say that for whole Rovio there are many different ways to monetize. And when I talked about advertisements, it was mostly ToonsTV. But when it comes to gaming, their in-app purchases are the driving force. And that's why it's not kind of a completely matched. And then for the movie, it's totally different type of business peaks every 3 years, and a totally different type of business model and consumer products going these waves with the movies. So that's basically the whole picture.
So would you mind sharing, you've been around for several years now. What was your breakthrough moment? What was your aha moment that made you realize that this is what you should do? This is what you should focus on. Something that you learned that could serve also others. Do you want to start?
Yes, speaking a lot. I think one of these things was that we had this idea that we have to do everything ourselves. And time was obviously different also 3 years ago. There wasn't so many out-of-the-box solutions available what comes to advertisement or analytics or all these type of things. But we ended up creating a lot ourselves. And now the thinking is definitely gain speed through partnerships, like with KIDOZ, for example. And that is really the way how we think that we should grow the business forward.
I think for TabTale, if we go really to the past, the first breakthrough was, many people heard about it, is a Christmas Tale app. It's the first book. And before that, TabTale kind of was, whether it's a technology company developing a platform for others, or there was a big question if there is even an option to develop content in Israel. It's kind of Israel, you can develop technologies, but content in Israel is not the place to do. And then TabTale launched Christmas Tale that reached the top of the App Store, and I think this was the main moment to decide that we can do good content in Israel and have a success with that. So this was the big breakthrough. After that came the move to freemium that really made the scale up, and the move to games that was another scale up from books, and a few others.
And for you, Jonas, when you discovered kids, what?
Okay, so for us, I couldn't mention one breakthrough. I think there was mostly 3 breakthroughs that we had. So first of all, there was the one which changed our whole business situation. So we were like a hardcore strategy game developer, and then we became kids games developer. How that happened? So I tried to download a game for my nephew. Like, he was 2 or 3 years old. I wanted to download a racing game for him. And what happened? Like, I Googled for, like, Google played for racing game for him. Like there was only Need for Speed, Asphalt, and such. Okay, racing game for kids. Still, Need for Speed, Asphalt, and such. Why? How comes? Like, there's a whole niche here, like racing games for kids. So we spent the whole 5 days developing game for toddler. Like, you hold one button and you win. So that's all. We developed that game. We gave him to play and he was happy. That's the game he needs. So we published it and we named it Fun Kid Racing, because that's keywords that parents would look for if they want to download game for toddlers, racing game for toddlers. And bam, it's skyrocketed. So we have a game which grows organically fast. Now, after that one, we launched another and another and another. So we launched more and more games. All of these grew organically really fast, and we did 0 marketing. All of our games grew organically, and now we have over 40 million downloads, over 5 million active users. All of these organic.
All of them within the racing spectrum?
Yeah, all of them racing games for kids. So that's how you claim the niche. Another breakthrough was, this game was our baby, right? We created it after working hours. Like, there was me, one designer, and 5 days spent. So we could cash out on 2 of us and don't share it with our company. But we decided, like, we need more people working on this, because we can achieve better results if guys start thinking big about it. So we shared it with the whole company and we said, let's think big. Let's upgrade it. Let's integrate more ad networks. Let's increase the quality. Let's do whatever we can. So after that, the game ramped up. The revenues ramped up. The quality ramped up. The production ramped up. Everything ramped up. So the second best decision was to add more team members to the game. And the third best decision was to enter Design for Families program, because after we did that, even though they had to get rid of most of the ad networks that we work with, because they were not COPPA compliant, they had inappropriate ads, we got rid of all of these, but we got a huge organic download increase after we entered into Design for Families. And after that, it all paid off. We started monetizing with appropriate ads. We were able to communicate with parents, and parents were glad that we are developing games for kids. We were finally able to say that we are delivering something good for kids. And those kids, they were asking for new games from us. So now we are proud to be here. And before that, we were afraid to show up because we were showing inappropriate ads. So we are doing something better and better. We are moving forward.
Cool. Mantas, close the...
Thank you, Jonas, for such a detailed answer. I will try to be short. So I think the breakthrough, in our case, it's like the initial idea behind TutoTOONS. Because what we wanted to build, we wanted to build like a different game studio. So we wanted to build the tool basically and allow other peoples to create the content for us. That was like, we realized there's like thousands of freelancers, designers, storytellers, and lots of creative people who could actually build the game, but there are no tools basically that without coding and big team and promotion integrations, knowledge of app stores and everything. So we thought like, why not to combine all the knowledge that we have as a game studio and share it with the whole world and just see what's happened, see how those creative people can come up with new ideas and build some great content. So I think that's our breakthrough.
Sure, which leads me to, let's talk about marketing. Let's do it voluntarily, so I won't force you to answer. Anyone who wants to answer, go ahead. I'm going to throw to the air a few questions about marketing. Starting with, who is your audience? Is it kids or parents? Are you doing any user acquisition? What was the value proposition that you found that resonated the most with your audience? What's your best, tactic for doing marketing for kids? Who wants to start?
Okay, I will start. So the question, who is the audience, whether it's the kids or the parents, I think it's a very important one, and there is no simple answer, but I read a good summary about it that I agree with 90% of it. I think it depends on the age. For toddlers until the age of 5 or 6, it's definitely the parent. Then comes, actually it's the same as they split it in the App Store. If you notice, there is below 6, there is 6 to 8, and then there is above 8. So I think 6 to 8, it's mixed. It depends on the kid and the parent, but I think the kid is doing the discovery in these ages, and the parent is just giving the permission in some cases. In some cases, it doesn't even need the permission. And I think above 8, it's not kids anymore. There are kids. There are also kids when they are 15, but in terms of getting the decisions about the discovery, about the content they download, they get the decision. Maybe sometimes I have family sharing with my daughter, so I have to approve it, but I don't remember when was the last time that I did not approve. She's not downloading a slot machines game or anything worse than that, so anything she wants, I just let her download. It's just something more about psychology that I will feel that I'm in control, but I'm not really in control. She gets whatever she wants, and she is 10. So it depends on the age. Our audience is mostly in the 6 to 8 and stretching a bit older. We had traditionally we had, and we still have a lot of audience that is more in the toddlers. But marketing to this audience is much, much more difficult because you need to get to the parents. You highly depend on the promotion of the stores. You highly depend on integrating known brands because parents don't just look for content, they look for brands they know. So marketing to toddlers is a different story. And our best marketing tool is our cross-promotion, and therefore we focus it on these ages.
Right.
Maybe I could go next. And I think there is a bit of an innovation here, but first starting with the core audience. So we are a video service, and our core audience is 8 till 11 years when we think about the style of humor. But then we have actually as big audience as preschoolers. But as you understand, the storytelling style would be different if we would choose the preschoolers as a core audience. So there's a strong halo that goes downwards, and as you probably know, it doesn't go upwards in the same way. So that's how we build it. And then about the marketing strategy for us, it's actually being next to the users. And for us, it means that we are inside games, because then actually the discovery is very easy. And like you saw from my video, we actually have half of the videos from third parties. And it's really about enjoying certain type of mischievous humor and content. And I think that's one of the biggest changes that is not so public yet, but we are in the soft launch phases with KIDOZ in US currently, and ToonsTV will be inside other applications as well, bringing the joy and engagement to other gamers as well, plus the monetization, obviously, which is inbuilt, the whole concept. So that's going to be the big thing for us next year.
So you're relying mostly on the attractiveness of the content for kids to spread around the world and to spread it around and share it with others. That's the main technique.
That's the main thing. Obviously, then we do social media and a bunch of other things, but that's the core, really being next to the users. And that's all about the multi-platform strategy, that if users spend time in YouTube, okay, let's be in YouTube. If they be on OTT and watching television apps and so on, let's be there. So kind of a being there where the users are.
How do you guys get more users?
Yeah, I can comment on that a bit. So basically, we are using mostly cross promotion. We select the best created games from the whole bunch, and we give them a moment to shine, basically. So we promote them heavily for a couple of days, and we see if they stick up in the tops or not, for example. So that's like the main marketing source for us.
And by the way, is it still working to boost an app in the first few days and then rely on a native, flow afterwards?
Yeah, it is working for some games actually. So it should be like content should be very relative to basically your other user audience, and once you are up there, some games are keeping there and some are just falling down. So we are always aiming for the ones would be keeping there. That's like their success actually is coming from.
And when you do boost those apps internally, do you select specific regions, specific geos, or you do it globally?
We do it globally.
Globally?
Yeah.
Okay. Jonas, want to add something?
These guys covered almost everything. So what we all have in common, we have lots of organic downloads. That's the main thing that we all have in common. If not organic downloads, kids space would not exist, because we cannot acquire users for money. Lifetime value is too low. We cannot acquire users for money. That's how we exist. We get lots of organic downloads. We do cross-promote as well, and that's the main thing, how we keep existing.
Let's finish with a question for you guys. Let's say that you get to meet yourself 3 years ago. Knowing what you know today, give yourself the best tip you could, or your company the best tip you could, what to do differently than you did. Be honest, right?
Well, maybe I can start, and it's an easy one because I kind of already said it, but it is work with very carefully selected partners and speed up the growth. And then for us, we have been very successful inside Rovio ecosystem, but we should have or we could have kind of come out of that earlier also, but it's never too late.
It's okay. What would you do differently?
I think it's not differently, but we could have done things earlier. The things that Sagi talked about, like building our IP, taking it outside of just the mobile games. It's something that we could have started doing earlier.
Going towards TV?
To TV, video, and stuff like this. I think we were kind of inspired by Rovio, among the rest. It helped us get the decision. But we could have done it earlier.
Okay.
Exactly 3 years ago, we launched our first game. Our first racing game. So we did another thing. We started experimenting with advertising. So if I came back 3 years, I would tell myself, drop everything you're doing and create your own ad network. And monetize with video ads. Video ads will be a big thing, like 2 years later. So start monetizing with video ads and create your own ad network. You will be rich.
Okay. Mantas?
Yeah, it's a hard question for me because TutoTOONS we started 3 years ago exactly, and I would say I would not change anything because I think we are on a good road, on a good track, and I don't know, just keep focused and build good content and allow anyone to express themselves and build great things.
I'll let you go out with it, but I thought I squeezed some regrets from you guys, but. Anyway, that's okay. So let's leave some room for questions. We have about 7 minutes. Whoever wants to ask something.
Hi. What can you say about subscription models?
Yeah, I didn't mention it earlier, but we strongly believe in it. So you can take a look at the top grossing kids apps. Last time I looked at it in the App Store, 8 out of the 10 top grossing kids apps were subscription based. So we are investing in it. For us, it's like it's a perfect fit because we produce new content every week anyway. So we can the part of maintenance that Eldad mentioned earlier, for us it's relatively easy to do, and we believe that's the best way to go with kids content.
Also with iOS?
Specifically with iOS, yeah.
I want to add up. I wonder if top grossing adds ad revenue in the kids category especially. it doesn't. So if these subscription models are compared only to in-app purchase model, it's not fair to say that they are earning more than those who are monetized with ads as well.
No, but it's not contradicting. You can take the same content that you have, still with ads if you want, but move from in purchase to subscription. There are a lot of options how to combine the things together, and there's no contradiction between the things.
Of course, I'm not saying that subscription is something bad. I also believe that subscription is the future, and eventually, if we will learn to add subscription model as a proper monetization method, then eventually parents will see the added value in subscribing to the premium membership, and they will see the additional content being delivered every month or week or whatever. So yeah, that's the way to go, but we need to figure out the way to deliver.
Keep in mind that subscriptions is a luxury for bigger brands. Smaller studios cannot afford to maintain a subscription. I'm coming like before KIDOZ. I was managing Cupid and JDate dating sites, and we were all subscription based. And subscription are the best. At least I think 25 of our users were not even using the service, but still paying. This is actually cute, but it's great. But as long as you, it's a luxury for the bigger ones. So unless there are other questions, I'll thank the distinguished panel. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. You'll be around so you can approach and come and speak with them and speak with us. And thank you, guys.